To achieve true freedom in life, you have to be disciplined. I love it
Love it.
because I feel like it almost contradicts itself, but it doesn't. It builds you up, and that's how you feel freedom.
Yeah. Welcome back, passionate investing community. Most real estate investors play defense, buying what's already built, fighting bidding wars, and hoping appreciation will do the heavy lifting. But today's guest decided to build her own path, literally. So Natalie Cloutier started with zero capital and a bold idea. So if the right deal doesn't exist, create it. And she is the mind behind what she calls BRRRR 2.0, which is build, rent, refinance, repeat, a strategy that flips traditional investing on its head. And of course, I could say a whole lot more, but I really like to have my guests introduce themselves. So with that, it's time to introduce our wonderful guest for the day. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you so much for having me on, George. This is an honor.
Well, but I'm glad you mentioned about how, for your audience, that, I think everything that we said so far is really valuable to both audiences. I did mention some Canadian statistics there. But before we move on from the international section of this interview, let me quickly ask you about, do you have investors in your deal? And if so, do you have international investors?
No, I don't. So I do have, we have a joint venture partner on
Mhm,
one sixplex and a triplex that we completed, but he's Canadian, he's local. And so
mhm.
I don't take other investors. It's always been myself and my husband, lone wolfing it. And then eventually we took on this JV partner, which we've done these two builds. We love him. He's great, but it's just, I don't know if we'll keep doing joint ventures. For now, we're finishing this sixplex, taking a break for hopefully about a year. We just kind of want to live on what we've built so far and take a break and relax and travel. And then we'll reevaluate and see what we want to do next. But no, we've never taken on other investors.
Right. So that's perfect. You mentioned that because you also have a sort of a quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else, it seems, is chasing, I want to have 1,000, 5,000.
Yeah.
What does it even mean to have 5,000 units? Are you a
I
5% partner, 10%? Were you a co-GP on half of those deals?
Yeah, and I
But
want
you,
nothing to do with that. It sounds like a lot of work. Like it sounds like a
it is
lot
a
of
work to have your fingers in a lot of pots. And in some ways, it negates, I think, the whole value of doing multifamily because you're supposed to be able to have a small number of deals and have a lot of equity and a lot of cash flow. But I think you have, probably get the statistic wrong, but you have like 8 deals and in total worth like $9 million. Is that about right?
So right now we're sitting at about $13 million, and
Yes.
I'm forgetting how many properties that is. It
But not
might
not
be.
1,000, not
No, it's about
200.
10. I'd have to
Right.
recount it, but yeah, I think it's about 10. And I mean we're leveraged at about 50% throughout those, right? Because it just makes sense. So and I'm not that's what I think we're at 40 units now. Units, number of doors, number of properties I never remember. But and I mean that works great. I have a VA
Yes.
working for me help. When we're under construction, my VA works full time because there's a lot of stuff to do on the construction side and then in accounting and all that. But when we're not under construction and we're just managing the rentals, I can have my VA only about 16 hours a week, and that's more than enough, right? So it's great, and
Right.
the business automates itself, and I still cash flow nicely, and I can still pull out which is great too in Canada when you refinance, when you renew a mortgage, you can pull out, every year and pull out some money and refinance. So when you're up for a rate renewal, I mean, but yeah, so
Yeah, I think
I
40
don't
is a great
want.
number, by the way. That's a key number for me because I have a colleague who he bought 40 units with one partner. Okay, so just two in the deal. And then he moved to the Dominican Republic and he doesn't think about work anymore.
There you go. There you go. It's like a magic number that everyone needs where you have enough cash flow to support your lifestyle, but you
Yeah.
don't have the headaches of having to need
Yeah.
like a bunch of companies and stuff to support the rest of the thousands of units. No, I always, we started with a business model too, where we wanted to, provide a happy home for people. And I can't really do that if I'm spread too thin or have too many resources, or you become a big company where you don't respond to people and they just become a number. You know what I mean? So I like to be able to still provide a good quality service to people.
Right now, let's talk about being a contrarian. So I think we talked about a lot of ways in which your investing approach is different. Anything we didn't hit on?
I'm trying to think
Well,
on the top of my head. I think we touched the base on a lot. I mean, a
right.
lot of people think that is a risk of, I think that's the biggest thing. People don't want to do this strategy because they think it's a big, scary averted thing. So I think by doing your due diligence and doing what you need to do, it sometimes becomes less risky than buying an old property where you don't know where all the problems are hidden. Like we bought an old
Right.
cottage and there we have mice coming in the place all over. It's, you never know.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's just like my favorite home improvement shows. I don't watch them, but I can't get away from them. Even when I go to the dentist, one of these
Yeah,
things is on, and they say, when you open up the wall, oh, the price went up. So yeah, in some ways,
exactly.
redevelopment or even renovation can at times be more risky than at least you're going to have to put everything in
Yeah,
when you're
exactly.
building. Is there anything that you'd say that your colleagues believe that you think is absolutely false, or maybe a long-held belief that you've had that you've recently changed?
Uh, hmm. I can't think of catching me off guard with that one.
Okay. See, I was actually
What?
thinking that because here, I'll help you out. I'm gonna think
Yeah.
you seem to be the one person who just doesn't have the war stories. You built, you refinanced, you didn't over leverage. Do you have any war stories for us?
Oh, absolutely. Worcesters, we just
Okay.
finished living one with the city. We had a big problem with the city with one of our sixplexes, where, especially when I was talking about that new law that came in 2023 for adding single family homes, we had planned to do a 9 unit on a property. So it's a property where we could have 24 units in total, but we were going to break it down into smaller phases. We're going to do like a 9 unit, a 12 unit, or whatever. I don't remember exactly what we were going to do, but we were starting with a 9 unit for sure. And then when that new law came in where you can add a single family home and you're saving on development charges, we decided to obviously use that strategy, to use that law in our favor and change the 9 unit to a 6 unit. So the way we did it is you can do a side to side semi detached or a side to side duplex. You can add ADUs in the basement, additional dwelling units that's under your zoning. And then with that new law, we were like, we can add a second secondary unit like we did with the triplex, where you're adding another unit on top, and that becomes a sixplex all of a sudden. But you're only paying development charges on the two main units. And here, development charges are a minimum of $40,000 per unit. So we were
Wow.
like, this saves us a whole lot of money. Plus, the goal of this law, as a provincial law, the goal was to remove red tape for builders so that they can go in and build a lot faster without having to do all these environmental studies and, all these whatever studies you had to do for larger units. And so we did that because obviously it was just so advantageous. But then when in the city we had our initial meeting, everything was good. We got our pre-approval. We did all our plans. We had everything in writing with the city. And then when it came time to pick up our permit, the city decided that because they were trying to change things because they noticed they were losing a lot of money. They were leaving a lot of money on the table by only charging development charges on 2 units and not on all six. And so they were trying to find a loophole in the provincial law, and they found one and said that since this property was not connected to municipal sewers, that we became a rural property and we didn't become a part of that provincial law. So they were saying, well, you're not connected to sewers, so your permit, instead of being $40,000 or whatever the number was, it's now $140,000. I don't remember the numbers exactly. But I had my trusses ordered, my windows ordered because we had just got confirmation from the city that the permit was ready for pickup next week. And they were just waiting for the final signature. And we were in September. And in Canada, when you're approaching September, you got to haul ass because you only got a couple months to go before winter starts, right? So we ordered the windows, we ordered everything. We're like, let's go. We're starting next week. And then they throw us that curveball where, the permit was like triple the price. So we got really pissed, got into a whole war with the city, still built the place and told them we're not paying those development charges right now. So we paid sort of a deposit on the permit. We came to that kind of understanding. The whole build, we were waiting for them to come back with lawyers and whatever. They still said no. We went in with lawyers. In the end, we got told no. We got in with the meeting with the city's controller, the guy at the top of the city, basically, with the mayor, with the ministry of the province, and all of that. Anyways, and we still got told no. And then in the end, we ended up, the building was done by then, but we applied for an appeal and we went in front of the city council. It was the first time in our city's history that any builder had ever done that. And we fought it and we talked to the council and we won. We won. Well, it was very close. We won 4 votes against 3. So 4 positive and 3 against. But we definitely won and they reimbursed us all of our fees because they hadn't done it correctly. We had the pre-approval, before. And so
Yeah.
they should have stuck to their gun on that. And it wasn't okay for them to change their minds at the last minute. So that
No, it
is one
wasn't
of our
okay at
war
all.
stories. Yeah, because that would have cut our profit. Like we were supposed to have a really good profit on this project. And that development charge would have eaten up all of our profits. We would have built for nothing. We wouldn't have pulled anything out.
Mhm.
So
So yeah, so I talk about the housing crisis in the U.S. all the time, and I feel like when my U.S. guests mention things like, "Oh, hey, they delay us, cost, the permits, the fees, the uncertainty, all of these things go into the price." And, like, just tell me that we're not crazy wingnuts over here, Natalie. I mean, is that what's causing the problem? And, literally in both countries right now is that it's so hard. It's so hard to build.
It is. It is. I think it's a major factor for that because now, like the city is like, okay, fine, we'll let you. We only paid on the two main dwellings, but now they're revamping all of their policies and their development charges, and they're bringing up the fees by 83%, I think, or something like that. So it's still, this provincial law was supposed to help and remove all the red
Right.
tape and help builders to create more housing faster and more affordable housing. But then the municipalities goes against what the province wants, and then they bring up the prices, bringing us right back to square one. So yeah, it's definitely a major factor and it's a big problem. And I think that I don't really know what needs to happen. I've got some ideas, but I don't want to get political on that.
All right, well, we need to send you into government. No, we need
Yeah,
you in
no,
private
so
industry.
not
I'm kidding.
interested.
I good. That's the problem. A lot of good people are not interested, and I think the
Yeah,
people who want the power probably should be kept from it.
I
But
agree. Yeah.
let's get
Yeah.
back to your book because actually, we hit on that early, and I really wanted to get into this because I think it's a great book. So you do talk about the numbers, you talk about finance, and then you did also talk about sweat equity. So I think those are three of the main points
Hmm.
in your book that we talked about. Other points in the interview, but things that I really do want to ask you about is launching a book because for every 100 people who say, I'd like to write a book, maybe one actually gets through to see the other side, and you've done that. But you're also obviously somebody who understands how to launch a book. So, can you tell us, after having written a book and all the work that goes into it, what is it like to have to go out and promote the book? And then how do you actually launch a book? You didn't just upload it to Kindle and then hope and pray.
My God, honestly, I am still learning. Don't know. You're saying that I know what I'm doing. I really don't know what I'm
Oh,
doing right
no,
now.
no. I'm going to tell you, Natalie, you are very modest because you do know what you're doing. I think you already have over a dozen five-star reviews and you're still in the soft launch. So tell me, what does it mean to have a soft launch and why should you soft launch the book?
So again, I'm still learning this. From what I understand, a soft launch means that you're only releasing one of because you can have the hardcover, the soft cover, and the electronic book, right? The ebook. So right now we were just launching the soft cover. I mean that way, and you're not supposed to announce it to everybody, except I announce it to everybody. But anyways, you're supposed to announce it to like a niche number of people, or you create like you build an email list where you try to get people to just buy the soft cover,
Mhm.
leave reviews, and you try to accumulate between 50 to 100 reviews during the first 6 weeks of that soft launch. I am at week 3 right now, and I've only have 12 reviews. So honestly, I feel like I'm not doing very well, but
Okay.
I didn't do the whole email list. I'm not following up on it as actively as I should be. I just announced it on my Instagram and I'm like, please get the book and please leave a review. But then, I've sold over 100 copies, but I only have 12
Good,
reviews. So
good.
I'm hoping that more reviews are coming as people are reading it. So I think that there's a lot, I'm doing all these podcasts. I'm trying to reach out and just get the word out there and because I think that I did see a couple of books on build to rent on Amazon, but I find that they were maybe a little bit too commercialized. And what I try to
Okay.
focus on, but I didn't read them. So, I mean, I don't know, but just from what I
Mhm.
read on the summary of the books. And so the goal with mine is really to get that, that ma and pa investor that anybody can
Mhm.
start from nothing and build a successful business like I did. So I'm trying to not necessarily dumb it down, but I guess write it in a way that I would understand it. So I guess yeah,
Right,
kind of dumb it
humanize it.
down.
I mean, some people say, people they don't want to hear from Luke Skywalker. It's more like, Obi-Wan Kenobi. They want the guide. If you
Yeah.
come out and say, like, I'm the hero, I did it, I'm so smart, then they're going to say, yeah, but I'm not smart like you. But when you point out, hey, I started out with nothing, I was fresh out of college, I
Yeah.
didn't have cash or a great big financial backer, and you made it happen. And then you humanize your story like that, and then people can say, hey, wait a second, I can remember myself in those shoes.
Yeah.
maybe I can take that jump too. And, I think that that's brilliant. I mean, making yourself the guide rather than just the hero of the story is really the way to do it. But I have to say, listen, you are doing it right. You've already got a dozen or more great reviews, and you still, I think, like you said, 3 weeks from your official launch. So great work on that. And I know the struggle because I remember going through my telephone and literally going through every contact and anybody who I thought had any likelihood of being interested in this book. Contacted people. I got to know people that I hadn't talked to for 10 years. And I said, hey, I got my book coming out. And through working hard like that, I was able to make mine the #1 new release in commercial real estate.
Oh, good for
So,
you. That's
but
awesome.
I didn't really go through the soft launch thing. Like everything came out on the same day. So, I mean, there's
That's
always a
okay
learning
too.
experience.
That's okay too. You just learn on the fly.
Yeah, you learn on the fly. That's right. And as we were mentioning earlier, before we started recording, yes, my next book is about how to write a book. And
I
hopefully
totally want to read
that will
that.
find a willing audience in real estate because I should have read a lot more about how to write a book before I did. Because by the time I had, the structure of the book is done, and then you want to go back and
Yeah.
you've got to do major surgery. It's not pleasant.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And everybody that has done real estate investing feel that they have something unique to share, and everybody wants to write that book, but we're all so busy with our first goals as a real estate investor. So I think you're
Yeah.
right. There is definitely a niche for that. I would read it, even though I've already written my book, I would still want to read
Yeah.
it because, like you said, I didn't read on how to write a book before, and I again went the surgical route and it took 2 years to build it back up again. So I should have done that. Oh, and by the way, my husband's gonna love you for using the Luke Skywalker reference. He's gonna be like, that's my guy.
Okay, great, great. All right, hopefully I'm gaining audience there. All right, so now
Yeah.
look, we got to go into some lightning round stuff here. But first, I have to ask you a couple of deep questions. Like, can you tell us your earliest memory of pain or struggle?
Earliest memory of pain or struggle. I guess just trying to live paycheck to paycheck before any of this started. Like when we were, I mean, obviously I had a good childhood, so I don't have any pain there. We had a really, normal, very normal family, average upbringing. But yeah, I think just trying to live paycheck to paycheck, trying to make it all happen while building and investing, and we were working nights and weekends plus our 40-hour work week like our normal jobs. So I think that was really hard. Like I don't feel like I would want to start that over again. That was a lot.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. And how about this? Can you tell us something you're still working on within yourself?
Oh, always. There's always something I'm trying to work on myself. Right now, I'm trying to work on being more present with my kid, being less focused on like, the outside stuff like social media and our phones and whatever. Just have actual present time with my kid, being more patient and being more less rushed because we did 10 years of rushing through, life
Yeah,
trying to build our life and build this investment
yeah.
portfolio. And now it's like, okay, let's retire a little bit. Even if it's just for a year, take a year off and relax and learn how to go with the flow. That's definitely
Yeah, I love
something
those
that,
trial retirements. I talk about that in my book, and it's huge. I think you have to do that because you don't know how awesome it is to work until you've been away from it. And yesterday I was building a grill with my son, and I thought, why am I rushing through this? This is ridiculous. This is a bonding experience. We should take the
yeah,
time. Yeah,
exactly.
awesome. Good stuff. All right, now, okay, now I have to ask you some like, what do you call it? Icebreaker questions. How about this? And because you're cool, I don't do this with everybody. But if you could dive into a pool of mac and cheese, what kind of cheese are we talking?
Oh man, just whatever powder comes with the box, it's the best.
I love it. So you're going for the true childhood experience right there. And how about this? Can
Absolutely.
you say something in French for us?
Oui, qu'est-ce que t'aimerais entendre?
Oh my goodness, I had French in college, but now you're gonna have to tell me what that means.
I just heard, yeah, I just said, yeah, what do you want to hear?
Oh, okay. Okay, good enough. All right. All right. How about this? Let's jump into the lightning round and see if we can do this. If you could be known for only one thing, Natalie, what would that be?
Hopefully the build to rent strategy or BRRR 2.0. Gotta
Bird
coin that
2.0.
TM.
Okay, great. We're going
Yeah,
to call this Bird 2.0 here.
love it.
Uh, learn from the founder, the originator. Okay. What's one mistake that has taught you the most in your life?
One mistake that has taught me the most. Probably, well, you know what? It's in the same realm of being present with my kid. When we were managing rentals, when I was alone, I didn't have my VA. I had a problem tenant that was causing me a lot of issues, and my kid was about 4, 5, 6 months old, and he was climbing on top of me, and I was trying to answer to these emails, and anyways, and I got mad at my kid because he was wanting my attention. I was trying to focus on this, and he looked at me with these eyes, like these sad eyes, and that was the biggest thing that I was like, okay, no, none of this. This guy is not my priority anymore. I am scaling back. I'm focusing on my kid. I'm hiring somebody to take over. And so from then, I think that was like one of the biggest things where, it's not about the business anymore.
So beautiful story. I had the same thing happen to me when I was a kid. So trust me, your child will learn from it. You'll not be scarred. I promise.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I felt bad though.
I know. I'm sure. I'm sure. You're a good person. What is the personal characteristic that has been most pivotal to your success?
Stubbornness, maybe,
Yeah, for everybody,
like
I feel.
yeah, so stubborn. Like there's no way that I'm not going to finish something or not achieve whatever goal I had set on. And just being very direct and blunt. I'm a very direct person. Like I will say what's on my mind. You either love me for it or you hate me. Either way, I don't care. But yeah, I think that in a way that makes you a tough business person, because you kind of have to be a tough person. You can't
Yeah,
be stepped on. So I think that's probably one of the best or worst traits, can be seen as both.
love it. Yeah, failure is not an option. I love it. Okay, so do I have to ask you one more whimsical question? Just tell me when to stop cutting the deck.
Stop.
Okay, top question is, what is your favorite part of Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh, so Thanksgiving in Canada is not a big thing. Just by the way, you guys have it big. Here it's like, yeah, let's just get together and have a meal with the family, but it's not like
Okay,
not the whole family, it's just like my parents.
okay.
So we don't do Thanksgiving as hard as Americans do, but I guess pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie. Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. All right, great. So yeah, we're not going to get into Boxing Day because we got to move on. But
Okay. No
what's one
worries.
tip or trick that investors can implement in their business today?
What's what? Sorry?
Like a tip or trick, something that investors can implement in their business today.
Um, implement in their business today. It depends where they are in their business, but I guess just being really, well, read books. Read books. I think that's like
Yeah,
the best thing. Whatever you're trying to accomplish, read at least 3 books on the subject. That would
love it. I
be
love it.
the
It gets back
first
to
thing.
learning from
That's
other
what I
people's
did.
mistakes. So go read
Yeah.
Natalie's book and,
Yeah. And
follow her
yours, and then
checklist so
another
you don't
one.
miss something.
Exactly.
Okay, great. So now, can you send us out with a quote?
The quote. Yes. Okay. My favorite quote is, to achieve true freedom in life, you have to be disciplined. I love it
Love
because
it.
I feel like it almost contradicts itself, but it doesn't. It
Yes.
builds you up, and that's how you feel freedom.
Yeah, discipline is freedom. Reminds me of Rockefeller. Rather be my own tyrant than have any man be a tyrant over me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful. And I have to thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience with your audience. You're doing amazing things in the world, and I hope that you get 1 million downloads out of this. But now I have to make sure that our audience can get in touch with you. So email, website, carrier pigeon, or smoke signals. What is the best way to reach out to Natalie Cloutier?
I am on Instagram at @thenewbuildcouple. You can also go on my website, www.thenewbuildcouple.com, and you can go, send me an email from there. But I'm very active on Instagram. I answer all my messages there. So anybody wants to follow me, get it done.
All right, love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.